Hey guys, welcome back. Hope you had a good weekend. It's October 31st. Pretty flat day for SPY. GameStop, not so much. A lot of volatility, a lot of volume. We took some profits. We're gonna see 35 again. This just the beginning? Was this it? Is this the pinch? Is it over? Sub up, like up, comment down. Happy money sticks around. Got some futures to show you guys. Trades on oil, natural gas. There's our Twitter at Happy Money YT. You can follow us on there. Recently owned by Elon Musk, or recently bought, I guess. That's our Discord. Links for those in the description. SPY, it on the longer term, it's still bullish to me. It looks like it's waiting a little bit for Powell on Wednesday. That said, everything looks good. We got some golfing candle on daily on Friday. On the hourly, it looks like I might have a little pullback, kind of a little head and shoulders. It's setting up here, shoulder, head. Got bearish red candles on the 9 moving average with the bearish MACD. So maybe a little pullback. We'll see where it finds support, but I think probably won't last too long because this daily time frame looks quite bullish on momentum. It does depend on Powell though, for sure. I mentioned, I don't know if I mentioned in the last video, but on Discord I mentioned some of the futures trades. So I jumped into UNG this morning. Was that this morning? Yeah, I think it was this morning, or maybe it was Friday. Just on the futures. Was it Friday? No, Sunday. I can't remember. Sometime this weekend. It ripped up. I was just trading TA on it. Little shorter term. And yeah, it worked out pretty nice. On the daily here, it's looking more bullish as it holds up this high with this green candle on the daily. So if that holds up above this resistance and stays green, I'm gonna have confirmation for a move up, continuing on natural gas. I'll show you the plays on the futures on that. I also have a short on oil. Had this head and shoulders, so I put up a short here, somewhere around here on this bounce. That one's working out nice. And the daily, this one I'm not quite as convinced which direction. This kind of reversal doji here, so thought it could come down, but MACD still bullish, green over the 9. It's not as clear on that one for me. So set stop losses with futures is probably a good idea. That's what I've been doing. SPY, I kind of traded a little bit today on the futures, closed out. It's pretty much just choppy. Didn't really break out. GME though, what do you know, this thing, everything looked bullish. If you watched Friday's video, I said in the title, GME couldn't look more bullish, or bullish as ever. And sure enough, we got a big move today. You wouldn't know it though if you just looked at close to close prices. We closed at 28.20 on Friday. Looks like we'll probably close somewhere in the 28 range today. Not bad, up 1%, but if you're watching intraday, it was a totally different story. Big gap up this morning. I think there was probably some FOMO, some hype that contributed to it at some point. Maybe some rollover we're seeing, but I guess my question is not why it happens. We know it happens, and we know it happens in a cycle, cyclically, but more the question is that it? It's gonna keep going? What's going on? It's actually one thing that's interesting is all the TA here, the auto-generate TA on Webull, this bottom wedge breakout, this inverse head and shoulders. Look at the price target it gave on all of them. Look at these. It all had a price target right there at like 35. Both of these. It pretty much hit it right on the dot. This one was a little lower, but kind of interesting. Yeah, so green over the 9 move average, bullish MACD, ton of volume today. That's what we want to see, 23 million. It is a big red candle. So I was chatting in Discord this morning a little bit, and basically what we've seen with GME is once it gets to kind of bigger resistance zones, when it's having this pinches, if it rejects it hard and halts, typically that's the end of the run, for then at least. And 38 or 35 that we hit today, it wasn't a real historic spot. I did have it marked just from back here, this area, but it wasn't like a 40, you know, the 40 I think is a bigger zone, bigger resistance or support. But the fact that it did hit there and halted up and then kept ripping, and then came down and then actually halted here. You can see actually the halts on the chart. The calls I had over the weekend, I closed one in the morning pretty soon after open, and then I closed another one. I closed actually the rest after that halt down. So it halted down, I think right here I closed the rest. So it was a good thing I held and didn't close them all in the morning, because they were much more expensive even here. As far as the swing shares and that sort of thing, I'm still holding those. I don't think this is over, but my lessons I've learned from the last times is it definitely could be. You don't know for sure, and once you've had kind of that first initial move, don't be too quick to jump back in. So I would have considered this just a continuation to keep going, you know, next, like tomorrow even, and it still could, but I think it's less likely since it came all the way back down and even filled the gap this morning, and it was actually red today for a little bit. If it kind of did this move and halted up and even halted down and then kind of held the support, you know, maybe held 30, I would have been probably more bullish on tomorrow having a big move. With this and the big move back down, I'm not sure. I think it still could move up tomorrow, but I think we might be in sort of a zone like this with a move up, some consolidation for a few days, another rip, or even like this where it's a couple days and then another test of that high, or even like this where this would put us out to like November OPEX and SLD if it was something like this. And the chart actually looks pretty similar to this. Got about 5 minutes to close. SPY's coming down here. Yeah, actually this chart right here looks somewhat similar to what we've been in. Just how it had this kind of 1 day, 2 day. Today's candle's red, but it's that big kind of gap up and move up, just that big range. So I guess not worst case scenario. Worst case scenario just goes to 0. But I think highest probability, most conservative case, I would say that this 35 is the top for this pinch, this cycle, and we'll probably consolidate somewhere in this range, maybe using 27.50 as a support. There is still a gap down here at 26 in that 26.30 range, maybe even fill that, but I feel like we'll probably hold higher, and then consolidate here for a day or two, maybe a week, maybe a couple weeks like it did back here, and then have another rip up and retest that high, and maybe a little lower, maybe a little higher, but right around that area. That's my conservative case on GME. My more optimistic outlook is we definitely break this resistance and we move back up to 40, and time frame could be the same, could be anywhere from tomorrow to, I'd say tomorrow really till the end of next month. Best case scenario is we just start squeezing. We're just making legs up here. So volatility's in, volume's in, we're gonna move up, we're gonna move down, move up, move down, and just start staircasing up and breaking resistances. Which could be the case. I think most likely, or most conservative, maybe not most likely, most conservative would be that this 35 is the high, which is kind of interesting, because this hasn't been a real strong resistance up until now. If this does become a strong resistance, and if it does, then our range is getting very tight on GME, because the highs keep getting lower, and the lows, I mean, back here they were the same. They got lower, but then it kind of got higher. So highs getting lower and lows getting higher. We're getting into a smaller range here, kind of a smaller wedge that's been building for 2 years, which is crazy. So I think a breakout is coming, and if it's not this time, I think we're just going to see a tighter wedge range, or we break down to make new lows. And if that's the case, it could be much lower if we break these supports back here. But at this point, it seems like it's just trading kind of in this range, this wedge range, and we could break out to the upside. And if we do, that might be the beginning of some resemblance of a squeeze. If our 35 is kind of the high and we hit that in the next 30 days, then and I guess if we hit it in this fashion, I would say that's definitely a high, where it's ripping, it halts up maybe, it's hard resistance and then it's halting down. I watch stuff on 5 minute usually, not usually the 1 minute, but you can see here just pretty heavy resistance there. So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on GME, how to play it. I'm still holding very large position, and a lot of them are short-term shares, so I am swing trading those, but a good amount are long-term, and I'll keep holding those. The short terms I will, if we hit if we hit like this at 35 again, I will be closing those, as well as any options, and then trying to get some exposure to the downside. So yeah, I guess time frame on that, I'm not sure. It honestly, I feel like it could be any time. I feel like it's a little less likely it'll be tomorrow, just because of what I showed you, that it came all the way back down, but could be. It looks like it's kind of building a little head and shoulders here too on the hourly. I mean, the RSI's cooled off now. IV's kind of pumped. Downward had a good point. It's probably good just to go into spreads now that the IV's pumped. Call debit spreads, book credit spreads, stuff like that. But it definitely got some attention, got some FOMO. This rally could have been just all that, and tomorrow, Tuesday, maybe is when their obligations are needing to be met, and we have the actual big move tomorrow. That could be the case. The borrow fee kind of came back up a little bit, solidifying that 9% area. So it came down to like 9.8 or 8.9. That was the low, and now we're back to 9.1. So that's good. And then so far Max Payne's out at 26, so it's possible. It's Monday though, so we have time. I'm trying to think if I do anything before close. I guess not. No. Okay. Yeah, here's the option plays I did today. Let's see. Here they are. So I sold these 30 calls. These were up 250%, I think was the peak. I don't try and time the peaks. I try and follow the momentum and go after the peak on the down when I'm closing, and go after the rally starts when I'm opening. So I did get back in a little bit, but I did it conservatively and then stopped basically once we started breaking lows and filling that gap. I assumed if we held higher range than today or even tomorrow, we could see a big move. But since we sold it all off, I was less bullish on the very short term. That being said, I still did get back into some exposure with spreads, 36, 39 call debit spreads. Got them just short term, just for Friday. So not a whole lot right here. So this is with me giving a basically a $40 price target if we hit that this week. That'll be nice with these short term ones. We'll be able to cash out. But yeah, if we don't move up, it's not a huge loss. If we move up a little bit, 35 or 33, then take a little bit on that. Yeah. Futures trades today. So I've got this short on oil, 2 contracts on the micro, and then micro S. Took a small loss actually on the S&P micro today, but definitely made up for it. I think I had like at one point I had 700 in profit on natural gas. I think I ended up closing it for like 400. I'm still long on it, it's just kind of overextended, so I'll probably look to go back long on it, maybe in the after hours at some point. And then the short on oil, and yeah, I'm waiting to go back long on SP, just because that head and shoulders, like I showed you, looks like it might be kind of bearish coming into tomorrow. And yeah, see what happens from there. I guess the only thing I want to do before close was more exposure on GME, but probably fine. I've got a lot of shares, and we'll just ride that. BPY, kind of the same deal. It actually is moving. It was moving with GME, not to the same percentages. Same with AMC. But so I got it, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on Discord. Peace out.